TOAMagic.com here today, and we are leaving the TOAMagic warehouse. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. Beautiful Saturday morning, kind of cold. But today we're going on a buying trip, and this is a long one. We're heading out to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm not going to spoil all the details of what we have lined up, but to start the story off, we're approached by a client 2 or 3 months ago saying, hey, I have a revised box for sale, and I have some other sealed product that's kind of old. And we didn't really want to ship it if we didn't have to, so I said, hey, at some point I'll be in Minneapolis, I'll pick it up, don't worry about it, but I'll get it eventually. Well, about 3 weeks ago, I got an email from someone else saying, hey, I'm looking to sell my collection. I'm also in Minneapolis. So now we have two deals. They're both pretty sizable in Minneapolis. So I'm start looking around and saying, hey, what else can I buy on the way? So we have about 6 different stops along the way lined up from Pennsylvania all the way to Minneapolis. First stop today is about 8 hours away in Howell, Michigan. So we're going to be checking out a WPN premium store that's there. Hopefully you get to buy some things too, but I'll pick this back up when I'm in Michigan. All right, we are back. We just wrapped up our deal over at the Upkeep Games in Howell, Michigan. As always, we worked it out ahead of time with the store owner to allow us to use the space to buy these cards from our client. So these came directly from a player. But I'm going to go over what we bought, what we paid, what I probably paid too much on, and maybe what I could pay more on next time. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. First up, we have a revised Badlands in heavily played condition. We paid $275 with the expected out price of $400. This revised Scrubland is in similar shape overall. So you have some wear at the top. We paid $165 to sell it for $240. Continuing the dual train, we have a Tundra, also pretty rough. We paid $275 on it with the goal of selling it for $375. This Taiga is a generic played Taiga. We paid $240 with the out price of $350. There are a pair of plateaus up next. These are both relatively nice. Unfortunately, we're in hotel lighting. So these we paid $175 on, and we're going to be selling them for about $250. Now, I really like old frame Korean cards. Unfortunately, the market's not there the way it used to be. So we're not going to be able to get a real premium on these the way we historically would have been able to, like 5 or 10 years ago. We paid $130 on this Korean Intuition with the goal of selling it for $200. We also bought a pair of regular Intuitions for $120, so just a small premium on that Korean one. We have a lovely playset of very, very well-loved Guy's Cradle. I'm going to take a look at these first. Now, usually when we do deals, we're going to have every card have its own price and be very explicit about what we're doing. But oftentimes, I just lump some of these together. We paid $600 a piece across all 4 of these, even though 2 of these are very clearly much worse than the other 2. Continuing the reserveless trend, where the comparable numbers are just out of this world, we have Lion's Eye Diamond. Now, these are all in roughly moderately played condition, give or take, and we paid $375 each with the goal of selling them for $550. Mox Diamond is the last heavy hitter reserveless card that's really out there, but also that we bought. These have a little bit of play to them, but nothing too crazy. We paid $450 and we're selling them for $550. I think that's one that I overshot a little bit on. That's not really a lot of room to make money after fees, although we are getting very close to the fee cap, which means there's only $65 in fees.
But that kind of goes to the nature of reserveless cards in general, in that everybody who owns them really kind of wants to keep them, and everybody who's trying to buy them kind of needs to pay a new record number. Moving into the non-reserveless portion of all this, we have a pair of windswept heaths. We paid $50 each on these to sell for $80. Judge Bloodstained-Meyer, we paid $70 to sell for $110. Flooded Strand X3, we paid $75 to sell for $120. These have some of the best foiling of any of these cards, of any of the Judge foils, but they're also really easy to show damage. This entire top area here is reflective, so any little imperfection, a little divot there, just shows very, very well, which is not really what you want to see on your Magic cards. We have 2 Wooded Foothills, where we paid $65 to out for $95. And the last Judge Fetchland, a Polluted Delta, we paid $100 on to sell for $150. We also picked up some of the original Zendikar Fetchlands. We bought this set of Misty Rainforest at $70 a piece to sell for $100. Now, this Misty Rainforest is a little bit weird because we do know it is getting reprinted. Now, this is the first printing of them. They're clearly better than the others, but at the same time, we don't really want to be paying a bunch of money when we know that there are going to be more Misty Rainforest coming out in August. Granted, these are foil, so that does help. And we paid $50 on this original foil Steam Vents. This is it looks like a reasonable card, but it's really not. This is a very well-loved, damaged Steam Vents. We're looking to sell this card for $80. Now, the next card was selling for $1,000 a piece right when it first came out. And that is Judge Foil Force of Will. We picked up 5 of these in this deal, and this card is back up to almost $500 online after selling for a very long time in the $300 range for several years because there are just so many new foil printings of Force of Will. But these are $500 a piece. What a monster of a card now. It's interesting when a card gets reprinted, and this card just got reprinted this week, but I don't think the price is going to change all that much on it, and that is Venser Shaper Savant from Future Sight. This era of foils, Lorwyn block, Time Spiral block, and 10th edition in particular, just have a very rich coloration, much richer than normal cards. So we paid $55 on this to sell for $85. There's a small pile of borderless foils, including this Avacyn. We paid $55 on it with the sell price of $90. These cards in general look great. I think WotC did a great job with Double Masters VIP as a product overall. They printed a little too much at the end, but in general, the product is a desirable product for most Magic players. It has fallen a bit from its original pre-sale price, which started out like $400, but we sold through most of our copies about $130 to $150. The San Diego Comic-Con Planeswalkers are some of the most interesting art styles. It's WotC's first real innovation style. And these Jace Vryn's Prodigy, we paid $90 each on to sell for $135. Jace is not a card that sees a lot of play anymore, at least right now. But it is a powerful Planeswalker. It is named Jace, and they didn't really make all that many of these black-on-black walkers, so all of them are pretty desirable. I wouldn't be surprised to see these getting some movement in the next couple weeks in price as people find new things to spend money on. Now, the last card we have is one of the most expensive old frame foils out there, and that is Mercadian Mask's original foil Rashad Imports. Now, we'll probably have a video going over how exactly we price these at a later point because getting data on a card like this is a little bit tough. We paid $450 each to sell for $550. That's right, we're basically making $100 minus fees on these, and they're not even nice. They all have a moderate amount of wear on the back overall because this card was always playable. This card was like basically a 4 of in every deck in Mercadian masks block constructed because of the nature of the format and the fact it was splashable. So hopefully we don't own these for too long. They've never been a particularly strong seller. I would have loved to have been able to pay less on these, but we don't own any right now, and this is exactly the type of card that I do like having at least some number of copies of. So that is the story on Rashad and Port. So as you can see, I am in a hotel room. I am still on the road. We wrapped up that buy kind of late on Saturday night, so I still have a very long drive to make on Sunday. I have 3 different deals, including the second biggest deal of this entire trip, with some very exciting cards tomorrow, as well as one deal involving some vintage sealed product and another kind of regular deal. So if you're interested in selling me cards, feel free to get in touch with me through any of the contact information available on the next slide. If you're interested in buying any of these, feel free to reach out as well. I do have material to ship all this stuff out while I'm on the road, so hopefully we're going to be able to make some deals happen there. But I want to thank everyone for watching. I'm out here spending a bunch of money, traveling. I did a video that will be up in the next couple weeks at the store I was just at, so I'm really excited to be back making content. I want to thank everyone for watching. Have a good night.